Ryan Colucci. I'm the director of Orient City, Ronan and the Princess, and Suburban Cowboy, both out now. You're listening to the Dave and Creech podcast.
This is the Dave and Creech Show, the only podcast where podcaster CJ Creech and actor Dave Sheridan come together to talk all things entertainment with your favorite entertainers. Want to ask our guests a question? Tweet them to @DaveSheridan or @CJCNOV88, and they may be asked to our guests live on the show. We do have to ask you stay seated during the podcast because this ride may get a little bit hilarious. Now here's your hosts, Dave and Creech.
Hey everybody out there, welcome to the Dave and Creech Show. We are not dead yet. It's been a while, but as usual, I am here, I am Creech, and we are once again, for the first time since, I believe, April or May of this year, we are joined by my co-host, Dave Sheridan.
David Sheridan.
Yes, and that is not a recording, I promise. He's actually here. And this is the first time you've heard his voice saying something new, even if it is just his name. Since, forever. We are glad to have you back on the show.
David Sheridan.
Maybe I might have accidentally had a problem with editing. I promise he is here somewhere. Maybe if I hit another one of these buttons really quick, I might be able to get him on.
I like peanut butter.
There we go. I think we're getting a little bit closer to Dave now. We're getting into the normal Dave territory. Let me hit this button.
Fantastic.
There we go. Now, let's see. Let me hit this button, and this Dave Sheridan soundboard's working pretty good.
Ow! Well, Chris, I'm back. How are you? I am so glad to be back. Yes, you hit the right button.
I did.
I didn't know what to do for a while there. I was like, I just wanted to be like you're trying to talk to a credit card company or the bank or something where you got to keep adding your name and like, if you'd like to do this, you'd like to say that, say balance. Make a payment. How many times have we all said that? Make a payment.
Did you say speak to a representative? No, make a payment.
No. Make a payment.
Okay, we'll get you to a representative right now.
Thank you. Jeez, I probably could do like 30 minutes of stand-up by just calling in to pay my credit card. That could literally be my stand-up tour. I'll never pay my credit card because I'll just keep going and doing it, but I think, I forget which one is really that Lowe's. My Lowe's card, when I was building a house, that one is so bad. Like, they just can't understand anything. It's like, because the whole thing is like, I don't know, like they must have an algorithm, and they must have somebody programming the algorithm to be like, you know, if you'd like to make a payment, say make a payment. And then you go, make a payment. And they go, did you say, refrainment? You know, like, did you want peppermint gum? Like, it's like, what are you talking about? Like, right? So I always just envision, like, the guy they hire to do the first recordings where the algorithm will be set to is like, okay, Jim, go ahead and say make a payment now. And he's like, where's the payment? That sounds good. So I think you're supposed to say, there's the payment. I have no idea.
It could very well be, yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing that we forgot to mention right at the beginning of this intro is that House Build 2016/2017 is finally over.
Oh, yes, it's done. It came out phenomenal. I posted like a thing on Zillow. Not Zillow. The Twitter, right? Like, did you ever see it? Like, I did a little thing and shot a little video with the drone going through the house and stuff.
I didn't see the video, but I did see you. You know, I visited you when you were almost done with everything.
Oh, you did? That's right. You came by with your sister and your kid, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, you got to see the video. I want to put it on my Vimeo, and then I'll repost it to Twitter for anyone who hasn't seen it. But it's it came out good, man. I was pretty proud. Now I'm in the heat of like house shopping to do it all over again. But this time I'm not so expensive. I just want to buy a house and tear down some walls, put tile in, and it's still gonna be a big pain in my ass. But I just feel like, unfortunately, that's my life. That's who I am. That's what I got to do. Who I am.
You're Dave the
Get
Builder
myself
now.
into crap. I'm Dave, the glutton for punishment, Dave. So, yes. But either way, I want to tell all the fans out there that I am still alive. I'm looking to get stuff done. And, in the meantime, check out some new films I have out. Where Naked and Handsome are on Netflix. And I have a film that's in theaters right now doing a sort of what we call a road tour, where we're doing one town every day for the next month with this film called Victor Crowley. It's really a follow-up to Hatchet 4. We just rebranded the name, but it's not a reboot. It's not a reboot of the Hatchet franchise, but the new title is now going to be Victor Crowley, where we're just transforming that franchise to be under the brand in the umbrella of the killer's name, maybe Hatchet, Hatchet 5 might just be back to Hatchet 5, but this one will be known. It's when he's in the record book as Victor Crowley.
Next one needs to be Mr. Crowley, so then they can go ahead and use the Ozzy Osbourne song.
Exactly, yeah. No, it's a great movie. I had to keep it under wraps. You remember when I was shooting it and I couldn't tell you about it, and you thought it was like Pinhead or something like that. I don't know what was it.
I eventually figured it out though.
But what was the one you thought it was? You thought it was like
I thought it was Saw. I thought it was Saw for the
Saw,
longest
okay.
time.
Right. I wish it was. That would have been a cool one too. But I'm pretty stoked that it was with the Hatchet movie, guys, because we've got a great fan base in the Hatchet Army, and I can't wait to get out there on the road trip and road tour and interface and chat with more fans as we go to town and screen the stuff. And I don't know which ones I'm going to make, so just go and look for me in the audience. So, and I'll definitely, if you see me acknowledge on Twitter that I will be at that, I'll definitely be at that one. So, unless I'm a liar and I just say I'm going to be there and I'm not, then you're welcome to come to my house and throw eggs if you know where I live. Haven't bought the house yet though.
Yep. Well, they know where your old house in Charlotte is, so.
I know. Don't do that.
Don't do that one.
Nice. They bought my house. Yeah, it's a beautiful house. Don't wreck that house, please. It's a really nice house. I wouldn't want to ruin it. Have my Cretan fan base throw eggs at somebody else's house now. Please don't do that. Just because I didn't show up to Victor Crowley. But we got a great show. We've got end of the podcast. Ryan Colucci is on the show. He's going to be chatting about. Man, this guy's so prolific. He's got 2 releases out right now. He's got a animation short that he's working hard at turning it into a feature film that he did a Kickstarter with that I was part of. I played the lead character. I voiced the lead character. It's called Orient City, and it's really something cool. It's a sort of cross-up between a spaghetti western and a samurai film, and it's hand-drawn. The whole thing is hand-drawn. It's not computer animation at all. It's very cool, and he worked really hard at getting that done. It's 18 minutes, and we're going to chat with him on that. I just see a Blu-ray copy of the DVD. It's phenomenal. I really enjoyed it, and that's why I wanted to have him on to chat about that, and to let people know it's out there, and also his other feature film, which is sort of a peck and paw, gritty sort of, it's called Suburban Cowboy, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a drug dealing movie, sort of a true story of somebody he knew growing up. And so we're going to have him chat about that. And that one is available currently right now on VOD and iTunes and other rental, devices and stuff like that. So, Google that, try to find out how you can take a look at that. It's called Suburban Cowboy. And we're going to have Ryan Colucci on to talk about both of those projects right now. And let's get him on the phone, Creech. Ryan, as you know, I haven't really done a podcast in a while.
Yep.
I
I think March or April, maybe, was the last one.
Really? No. There's no way. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
But we touched base a couple times.
Yeah, we touched base, but we didn't record anything.
We didn't?
No.
When did we do the Ryan one? The other Ryan from Jackass.
That was March.
I think your last one was Brandon Novak, no? Or was that...
Yeah, that's what I meant. Brandon Novak, right.
Yeah.
That was March?
That was around March.
Well, we're all still alive, so that's pretty good. It's kind of funny. But either way, we've got our probably coming back for the second time on the podcast. Producer, writer, director, Ryan Colucci. How are you, dude?
I'm good. Just got back from a few months in Europe. Good to be home.
Wow. Oh, yeah. So you were finishing up the animation, right?
Yeah, so anyone that doesn't know, I just finished a hand-drawn animated film. It's a samurai spaghetti western called Orient City, Ronin and the Princess, and Dave is the voice of the lead guy. We did the short first, and then I went to Budapest, where Jean Borhuska, the co-director and lead animator, is, and then we tied up all the loose ends on the short and laid out the storyboard for the feature film.
What country is Budapest in, or is Budapest the country?
Budapest is in Hungary. It was pretty awesome, actually. It was way cooler than I thought it was going to be.
What do you eat in Hungary when you get hungry?
They're famous for their goulash.
Yeah, goulash.
And stew.
Is goulash a type of stew? What the heck is goulash?
Goulash is like a meat stew. I didn't actually have it when I was there. I had it the first night, but I was coming off the plane and we got really wasted. It was pretty much the one night that we went out and got drunk.
So you got borscht and goulash at the same time.
Yeah, and everyone there drinks spritzers. Everyone drinks rosé spritzers. So you can be the biggest, toughest, jacked Hungarian dude, mean as hell, and you're drinking this pink, fruity beverage.
Yeah, Bartles and Beans. I didn't know they were from Hungary. Yes, that's where the original wine cooler came from Hungary. How do you know that? I learned something. So, yeah, and I saw that there were fans posting the delivery as they were getting their, I don't know what you want to call it, rewards, I guess, or whatever. They were receiving their Blu-ray DVDs of the short. People that backed it on Kickstarter, and they started posting it, and I was like, oh, it's out. We gotta talk about this. That's a major milestone, even though this is the short version of the feature to come. It's a lot of work. I mean, people don't do hand-drawn animation anymore, let alone a feature film. You know, it's pretty rare just to do hand-drawn, and then to map out and go for a complete feature somewhere in the process is quite an undertaking, and it's going to be pretty cool to see it keep going, you know?
Yeah, I don't think, I'm biased, obviously, but what we're doing on the scale that we're doing it at just isn't done at an independent level at all. Sometimes you see hand-drawn animated films get made, Secret of Kells, which got nominated for an Oscar a few years ago, and The Red Turtle and things like that, but they're very, they're not, what's the word? They're very indie. The art, the pencil lines and everything are
rudimentary.
They're not at the level that I think we're at, which is, it looks like a studio movie in a good way, not in a bad way. Considering it's two people that basically did the whole movie on the production side, myself and John, but we had a team of in-between animators from all across the globe that took on individual frames. But for the most part, it was myself and John, mostly Jean on the art side, and then our sound designer did the other huge chunk of the work, guy Slava Pogorelski from Poland, who did it just because he saw the Kickstarter contacted. And I had a ton of people contact me, and whenever you run one of these things, I'm assuming I'm just, most of the time it's graphic novels that John Burr and I are doing, but I had composers every day, 10 times a day. Hey, if you don't have a composer, hire me. It's like, well, back to Kickstarter, dude. This guy waited till we were done and said, hey, this project looks amazing. Here's my reel. And it is real. I was expecting it to be crap, but his reel is pretty amazing. Does big-time video games out of Europe. So we got lucky there.
That's who composed it?
John Bohr actually composed it.
Okay.
Bob did the sound design. John Bohr came to me and said, the sound is pretty awesome, way better than what we had budgeted, actually. But John Bohr came to me and said, hey, I'd like a crack at composing the music. And I said, the guy does a lot, and he was already taking on a lot, drawing all the keyframes, a lot of the in-between frames, all the coloring, for the most part, overseeing the in-between animators, doing the visual effects layers. And he said, hey, I'd like to take a shot at composing. And I was like, come on, man, let's get a real composer. And I said, all right, you know what? I'm not going to doubt you. Do a scene, and we'll figure out if that's the right way to go. And Dave, you can weigh in here, but I thought he killed it. It was like this mix between Morricone and, Morricone. We wanted a feel somewhere between Kill Bill and Once Upon a Time in the West. Morricone just did Hateful Eight, Tarantino's last film, and obviously Morricone did Once Upon a Time in the West, so
right.
That's kind of the vibe we wanted, because it's a samurai western.
Okay, so people that did not receive a Blu-ray, that didn't back the Kickstarter, how can they see this short? Is it something that's going to be released somewhere where the public can view it, or are they going to have to track down places that it's playing at film festivals and stuff? And do you have some film festivals already booked or waiting on, or where's it at with all that?
We're waiting on a ton. We got into the first one up was the Rhode Island International Film Festival. We basically applied for all the Oscar qualifying festivals for short animation. Those were our targets, and I kind of went crazy applying at first, and then I looked, because the film was supposed to be 6 minutes long, then it was 12, and the story kept growing. We're talking about hand-drawn animation, and the final film is 18 minutes, 56 seconds. So it was a beast. But it's long for festival play. So what I had to do is then start researching how festivals were programming animation. Sometimes they program the animated films before a feature. And they'll say under 30 minutes. What they really mean is under 10 minutes, if you look at what they're programming. Because there's no way they're putting a 20-minute animated film before a 2-hour feature. It's just not feasible. And then sometimes they'll program the animated films in a block all together, and they try to keep it under 90 minutes. So if that's the case, I just would not apply to those. But we got into Rhode Island Film Festival. We got into the Lund. This is just so far. Lund Film Festival in Sweden. And then I just found out that, I can't say the other one I found out about because they told me not to until they release it.
So how many more are sort of in the play?
Probably. Well, there's a ton that are free. So once we got into our first one, I didn't have to worry about, holding off for a premiere and all that stuff. So I just applied to probably 30 free ones. And then all the Oscar qualifiers for the rest of that are deadlines up until January 1st. While I removed some of them, like San Francisco, they're a little, last year it was like a girl having her period. It was one of the animated films. Clearly we're not going to fit that. There were a few that had that sort of too artsy for their own good, a little pretentious on the animation side. And I tried to stay away from those. But in terms of where to get it, we initially got funded through Kickstarter, so the DVDs and the Blu-rays and the digital versions all went out last week for the most part. The response has been overwhelming, which is pretty cool. Obviously, it's our target audience, people that already were inclined to like it. I have probably 20, because I have to buy Blu-rays and DVDs in certain quantities. I have about 20 Blu-rays left and about 15 DVDs. And then the platform that I released the digital file through is called VHX. So if you go to VHX.com, so to be on there, which is like, I was able to send it to everybody who backed it for free with a coupon code. But to go on there, I had to create the file for purchase. So it's on there for purchase if someone really wanted to go find it. It's called Orient City.
Got it. And what's it cost to purchase?
Well, I had to make it more than the Kickstarter, otherwise it would have been a real kick in the nuts for everybody that backed it. So
right.
It's $15, which is really, really high. But if anyone wants a Blu-ray or a DVD, they can hit me up directly. All my social media handles are Spokelane, SPOKELANE.
Perfect. Yeah, I watched it just last night. It's freaking awesome. The finished product, I've actually seen several versions of it. And now, going back to the sound design, where we did the actual majority of the audio recording at Kappa Studios, I think it was, off Magnolia there. Was that guy's place that did the sound design?
No. We just did the recording there.
Right.
The guy who did the sound design was in Poland.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Out of everybody on the team, so to speak, like John Bohr did, me and John Bohr did the bulk of the work, but the guy who did the sound design was on the project for months. The animation, there is no recording of audio on set, so you don't get footsteps there. Like, most of the time you're replacing those things anyway, but you're literally creating everything from scratch. And
right.
We were creating a world that doesn't exist in our real world, so we got to have a lot of fun, and we went back and forth on a lot of sounds, how the sword sounded. Everyone, like, he went out and bought all different types of boots, and was like, would this guy wear these boots, and tested them, and boot spurs, and he was like diehard, and it was amazing. If you saw last night, Dave, I don't know if you had the sound cranked up, but there was some stuff he does, like when he pulls the sword at the end, and the gleam of the sun goes down it, and there's the blood drop at the end too. It's really cool stuff that just made the movie so much better.
Yeah, and then so basically we'll do some festivals, and then what's the next step towards accomplishing a feature version of this?
So when we set out to do it, it was just, hey, let's do the short, we'll finish the short, and then we'll worry about all the rest of it. We didn't do the short to say, hey, we'll do the short and sell the feature off the short right away. We were like, we're going to put our effort into the short. But right as we were doing the Kickstarter, someone came to us and said, this looks awesome. I want in. And he put his money where his mouth is and financed us through the script, the feature script, and then through the full animatic of the feature, meaning we'll take, I was able to spend 2 months in Budapest to work with John Bohr to literally storyboard out the entire movie. Then we'll take that storyboard and we'll cut it into a movie in Premiere, and then we'll lay pre-dub down, which is just 10 voices, and we'll make sure everything's working, and that's what we're financed up through is the animatic. And then John Moore and I will put in temp audio for sound design and things like that. But before I went to Budapest, I actually went to Cannes because I had another movie that came out in August, and that was playing at the market. And I was able to show a bit of a teaser and part of the film, the short, around, and there were a ton of interest there. And coming out of there, I just wound up teaming up with a financier who, the guy that put together the money for the last Transformers out of China, the money for Star Trek out of China. He's doing he put the financing together for a John Travolta film that's shooting in, I think, Alabama in October. So he's like, I just inked a shopping deal with him, so pretty exciting. But like literally just went out last week, so no one's really seen it at all.
Creech, have you seen it?
I've seen the all I've seen is the trailer for Orient City.
I know. You know what I should have did? I feel bad. I should have sent you the link. I didn't even think of that. I think that probably it would be all right if I send Creech the link, right?
Yeah, of course.
I should have did that.
Sorry, Creech.
Yeah. I mean, what I've seen of it so far, the trailer looked fantastic for sure.
Creech is the greatest hand-drawn animated trailer of all time. Just be honest.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
Pretend you've seen it. If you've seen Avatar, you've seen the short film just as a short, and it has nothing to do with Avatar. But whatever you've experienced when you were watching Avatar, you can basically pop that in. That if you were watching the short on a 13-inch laptop that I also download, it would be very similar experience.
Exactly.
I went, just to change the subject slightly, I went to, it was called Dark Delicacies on Magnolia, and it was kitty corner to Kappa Studios. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's where I laid down some voice for this short film that we're going to talk about.
I've been there. I've been to Dark Delicacies.
Yeah, and we did a little fundraiser yesterday and auctioned off some items, and this particular was myself, Lou Temple, Daniel Roebuck. We signed a Devil's Rejects DVD, and Kid Hagen already signed it, and it was like a live streaming auction for, raising money for hurricane relief in Houston. And I was making jokes, we're going to need more of these DVDs because there's going to be other hurricanes coming. Like, you got this other one, Irma.
Yeah, that one's probably going to just... That one's probably going to hit us.
Yeah, exactly. I'll probably be trying to auction off a DVD just to get you out of to get you a floaty or something, right? Pretty
Right.
in South Carolina.
Right.
And where am I going with that? Okay, so I didn't know who was going to be there, and Lance Hendrickson was down there, lending his support. And on Sunday, I went and saw the 40th anniversary digital print of Close Encounters of the Third Kind in the movie theaters with my son and my daughter. Obviously, their first time seeing it. And it was my first time seeing it in 40 years. I watched it one time in the theater. I'm not somebody that watched that film more than once way back when, and I never really saw it again. I liked it as a kid, but I wasn't really into that side of, UFOs or aliens or that type of world. I like Star Wars because, that came out probably the year after Star Wars or the year of Star Wars or behind it, somewhere in there. And once you couldn't compete with me in Star Wars, at that age.
Yeah,
so,
I was going to say,
like when E.T. came out, I've never actually even seen E.T. because I was so jaded because E.T. was such a blockbuster hit. And I'm like, fuck that. Star Wars. I'm not going to go see E.T. My brother fell into an age where he loved E.T. over and over and over again. But anyway, so I'm watching Close Encounters with fresh eyes, almost. I got so much out of it. Such a different movie. I can break this thing down. It's actually, quite frankly, definitely one of Steven Spielberg's best movies. It's not his best movie, and it's not the movie I thought it was as a kid because I'm seeing it as an adult, and obviously there's a completely different story going on. But
this was a film print you saw?
Well, yeah, the film print, yeah. It's in the theaters.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, but, when the mothership is landing and all the scientists, everyone's there gathering around, there's several shots of different people standing in awe, and next thing you know, a young Lance Hendrickson's face, his mug just comes up on screen. And I was like, it just hit me. I go, who the fuck is that, right? Because the guy, he's an interesting looking fella. as we all agree. And he almost, like, at a young age, he looked like he was just this pulled-back plastic surgery type of character, and he almost looked like an alien in a weird way. That's why he stuck out to me. And, but it's just that all he is looking, he's silent. It's like maybe a 3-second shot. And I just went, was that Lance Henriksen, right? And then 3 days later, I'm seeing him at Dark Delicacy, and I'm telling my buddies that I'm there with, I was like, oh, dude, like Lou Temple, I said, I think I saw Lance Henriksen in Close Encounters of the Third Kind on Monday. And they go, he's not in that movie. What are you talking about? He's not in that movie. And I go, no, I'm pretty sure I saw him, like, in the background, like, as an extra. And so Lance goes and takes a break outside, and I go out there, and I was like, hey, I looked up at that for him. I'm like, hey, Dave Sheridan, we haven't worked together. He knew I was. He was like, yeah, Dave, how you doing? And I said, I just saw beforehand the anniversary of Close Encounters on Monday. And he started chuckling. Right? He's like, oh, ha, ha. And I go, were you in that movie? And he goes, well, I was cut out. I shot on that thing for 6 weeks. He shot for 6 weeks, and he was cut down to that one little tiny shot. Steven might as well just took him out. I'm wondering if there was some sort of rule that you had to keep somebody in or something like that, because there's no reason you didn't use them, you know? Or that was Steven. I don't know. I have to go back and look and see if Steven ever even worked with Lance again. Like, was he basically showing Lance, like, I control you, I can cut you out? And he basically, Lance was saying that Steven and him didn't quite get along because Lance kept making jokes the whole movie, and he was saying, let's do a scene where I run out with my lab coat and take one of the aliens and I take him in the outhouse and I rape him, right? And he was like, no, I gotta fucking do that, right? And then I guess he was told, he goes, look, you're sort of upstaging everybody in the scenes. You're sticking out. You kind of stand out too much in the scenes you're in, so we have to cut you out. And I could see that because when you pan across the thing, you see his face, it's just like, who the fuck is that? And I just went, like, he stuck out in the crowd of faces, and I was like, that looks like Lance Henriksen at age 30, you know, or 25 or whatever. And so that was kind of interesting because I think it wasn't his acting that was probably updated. I think it was just his sort of charisma and his sort of facial look, you know what I mean? It just kind of pierces you, young Lance Henriksen. And he said it was his second film. Before that, again, it was a big movie. Dog Days Afternoon was his first film with Pacino. And so the best part was, then I told Lance, I go, you know, there was an outhouse joke in the movie. He goes, what are you talking about? Because he never even watched the fucking thing. Or, you know, he might have watched it way back when. And I go, yeah, when Richard Dreyfuss climbs down from the mountain and he just gets there, a dude, the mothership has already landed. It just landed, and Richard Dreyfuss is coming down in all, right? And this scientist comes running at Richard Dreyfuss as if he's going to tackle him. And they kind of, like, get in the way. Richard Dreyfuss sort of, like, gets defensive, like, shit, I'm going to get tackled, like, I'm not supposed to be here. But the guy crapped his pants, and he was running to the outhouse. So he basically runs past where he bumps into Richard Dreyfuss and then jumps in the outhouse because he clearly just shit his pants from the aliens, right? And so I told him to Lance, and he's like, Spielberg stole my idea. You know what I mean? he did take that. What the fuck? Like, that was I had the outhouse idea, but he just twisted it a little bit, you know? So, that's pretty funny, but it's a great movie. If you guys ever watch it again, you gotta look at it like it's really Steven Spielberg making a movie. He is Richard Dreyfuss. He's making a movie about an artist, and an artist that has that itch of not knowing what his calling is in life, but knows he's got to do something. You know, he's got this unitchable itch that he's got to go and do. You know what I mean? And he's got to give up his life. He's got to sacrifice his life with his family. You know what I mean? Put that aside in the quest for what he is being called to do by all means necessary. And he doesn't know what that calling is, but he knows he's got to go on this journey and just give up everything. And, you know, that's kind of what that story is. It has really nothing to do with aliens. And then there's, the song, that Disney song, you know, that one with Jimmy Cricket where it's like, when you wish upon a star, There's no difference who you are. So when he's building that thing in the living room over the train track, and his kid's train is just living there, it's got a bunch of crap in it and stuff, he accidentally throws all this shit on, and it kind of hits this little wind-up, you know, whatever you call those things, those little, you know, you used to wind it up and you used to play a little tune, and it's underneath the paper, crumpled paper, and he takes it, and it's just coming at the tail end of it, and it's When You Wish Upon a Star. It's Jiminy Cricket. It's a little toy. And basically, but it's playing slow, like on the wind, you know what I mean? And it plays that song, that you know that part that's the aliens or the song part? Where it's like, do. And that's When You Wish Upon a Star. Like, it's basically, because it's playing slower, it turns into that. So it kind of slows down from that song. And it's about the wish of, doesn't matter who you are, you can have a dream and you can fulfill that dream. You can move towards that. That's what that whole film is, the subtext of the whole film is. And it's there in that Jiminy Cricket thing. And then when he's getting on another ship with John Williams' score, you listen to the whole, you know, Close Encounter stuff. Right when he's getting on that ship, he plays the and it's in there. It's actually in the soundtrack, buried. And I heard it, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, this is really like, you know, there's really Easter eggs in there that basically tell the theme of what the movie really is about, you know?
Huh.
That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So, yeah, I would go, if anyone wants to rewatch that, look for those two things. Look for the Jiminy Cricket thing and the tune playing and how it plays into the alien back and forth response of what they were doing slightly. You didn't want to hit it on the head, but that's what that is. And then listen for the real song inside the end, the big fucking climactic orchestra ending. It's laid in there. You hear it for like one bar, and it's pretty cool.
That's how you spent your summer vacation?
What was that?
That's how you spent your summer vacation?
All the time away. You want to call it 2 hours in the summer vacation. My daughter cried at the end of the movie. She hated the movie. She's 11, and she said, I didn't like that the dad left the family. So she didn't like the ending. She felt it was not good that the dad left the family. And I always thought that. So, what was that?
What about your son?
I don't think he gave a crap. He was just
He was like, I was hoping that.
My son is just looking at the pragmatic stuff. Like, because he's really into, like, watching that film theory stuff on YouTube and stuff. So he's just like, well, how did he get the station wagon again when the wife took the station wagon when she left the fam, when she left with the kids? How does he end up with the station wagon? There's just inconsistencies. He keeps talking during the thing, and he's like, how do they fly upside down with the spaceship? Is that a city upside? Because basically the big shit comes in, and it turns upside down. He goes, what's going on? Why is it upside down? And, you know, it's just dumb. He's just talking, you know, he's taking it more from a microphone and camera's perspective as he's breaking the film down, you know? He's not watching the story at all. I'm just like, when I watch a movie with my son, I'm like, shh, you should indoor boy. You can stop talking. You know, people are always yelling at me like this. He just that loud. And honestly, he just wants people to die and blow up. Are they going to kill him? They should kill him. They should blow him up.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the Michael Bay generation, so explosions, right?
Yeah. Like when they're trying to gas them on the Devil's Mountain, when they're trying to gas them, you know, like, he's just like, what kind of gas is that they're using? Is that really scary? What is that? What is that stuff? Is he dead? Is he dead? I go, I don't know, dude. You know? He does say funny shit, like when Richard Dreyfuss shows up with all the other people that were drawn to it. Speaking of drawn and drawing and artists, and that's kind of, we'll bring it full circle back to Orient City, is Richard Dreyfuss made a shiny, three-dimensional sculpture. You guys remember the movie? Remember gathering garbage, all that crap, and he's just wrecking his house? Why he didn't do it in the backyard, I don't know. But he had to do it in the living room, right? Because I think Spielberg was like, he's got to be able to see the TV, the news story, right? Let's have him fucking trash his house. Yeah, because nobody's that crazy to throw that much garbage in their living room. They could have did it in the backyard. He had a big enough backyard. But everyone else had drawings. They all were drawing stuff on pencil and crayons and stuff, right? Remember the French guy was like, everybody had this vision, and everyone else had drawings, and I was just like, my son was like, he should have drew it. It would have kept his house much cleaner. Why didn't he draw it? Everyone else was smart enough to draw it. Yeah. And going back to drawing, so we got Orient City. Now, you started talking about your other film. This was an independent movie that you made, shot. Did you write the script? I forget.
Yeah.
Suburban Cowboy
yeah.
you're talking about.
Yeah, it's called Suburban Cowboy. Came out August 11th digitally. So right now it's on iTunes, Amazon, Vudu, Fandango Now, Xbox, Dish Network, DirecTV, and In Demand, which is Time Warner or Comcast, depending on where you live. Totally different than Orient City. It's a crime thriller based on a real guy that I know on Long Island that was a weed dealer, and he got in over his head and had to pay off his debt. It's not, the most groundbreaking story of all time, but what interested me about the project was how seemingly normal this guy was. That it's just this guy that I lived down the street from that I'd see at the gym and then I'd see out, and it's like, kind of knew he was into some shady shit, but, he lived in the suburbs, and he dressed like I did dress, and we did the same sort of stuff. He wasn't the doc movie gangster that you see, or the guy in the TV show that, is obviously a criminal, and that really interested me. So I kind of dove into that world, and that's what the movie is. It's a small movie, but hopefully really authentic in terms of what it is.
Now, when you set out to make that movie, do you have to go and get the guy's life rights or anything, or since you're loosely basing it on him, or since he was already, found guilty of a crime, I guess, is that open game with somebody who's already like a criminal? Or it wasn't something since it was so.
I don't think he can profit. I don't know what the exact law is. I don't think he can profit off his crime. But he still has life rights, I believe. Either way, he's somebody I know, so when I decided that I was going to do it, I actually approached him, and we talked about it. He actually approached me at first, to be honest, and he said, hey, I was in prison before for 2 years or so, and I wrote my life story down. He hands it to me, and it's in gibberish. I can't read the thing, and I'm like, you got to go type this, because I literally can't read your handwriting. And he did, and then I read it, and it was still kind of nonsensical. It was very episodic. There was no cohesiveness to the whole thing. Everything was very random. Mostly it was, I made this drug deal, I dated this stripper, I made this drug deal, I dated this stripper, I robbed this person, I got robbed by this person, I dated this stripper, I made this deal. So I said, there's some really cool stories in here, but your story in and of itself is not interesting. You.
Right.
So he said, yeah, cool, take what you need and create a story out of it. So that's what I did. But we signed a deal from the start, basically just saying, story by credit, and his life rights were signed over to us. But I did wonder about, do I even need that? Because he's been in jail for these things. Well, some of those things. Most of it he didn't get caught for, but I'm not sure of if I didn't have an agreement and I just did it, I don't know what the legality of it is. I'd rather not risk it. There's too much at stake and too many other people working on the project to kind of chance it. Actually, Dave, we have a movie in post together that is really close to the finish line, and he put money into it.
Oh, great. Now it is a regular Dave Dave Sheridan. Great. Yeah, that's white space. Now, I mean, come on. Look at this. It's been freaking finished, and I know it's not on you. They're definitely going to discover life on another planet. You know, like, yeah, there's wormholes, and you're like, oh my. You know, you think you make a timeless movie because it's set in space, but what if space implodes by the time we finish the thing?
Oh, yeah, set in 2150 AD, and that might be when it finishes.
Can't wait. You know, I've kind of had a busy year, even though I was building my house, because I just looked on my IMDb and saw a bunch of little films that I had something involved with and did. You know, that have been taking its time, and a lot of them have been getting released. They had Grow House out this year, which was like a comedy from the guy that did Friday. Yeah, everyone can check that one out. That's available. Then Hanson came out with the Jeff Garland film on Netflix, and apparently this film Sky Shark is either out or coming out. You might actually know more about it than me, because I'm going to try to send you a link, because the company that's releasing High Octane, and a distributor for the Sky Shark. Now,
are they domestic or international?
I guess they're international because it's a German movie. I mean, it's a German language movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to have me, not dubbed, but I'll be subtitled. You know,
yeah.
Versus other way. You know, like, normally the Germans, when it's released here, most of the Germans are going to be subtitled, but I think 90% of the movie is spoken in German, you know. I play an international game hunter that's that's hired to take down the Sky Shark, you know, because I'm a big game hunter. And so I'm kind of like the Quint from Jaws character. It's a very small, I mean, I shot it in a day and a half, probably like a day, from what I remember. But did you confirm that with the guys from, did you mention something like, oh yeah, they knew about the Sky Shark?
Me and you talked on the phone, and then about an hour after that, Galen Christie is his name, who runs High Octane. He's an awesome guy. He's handling foreign sales for Suburban Cowboy, and he wants in on Orient City, and has been a real huge help in even getting the DVDs and Blu-rays printed and everything. We were talking about my next live-action film, or one of the next ones, and he said, and I said, I just got off the phone with Dave, and then we were talking about your script that you're working on.
Right.
And he said, oh, I love Dave and Sky Shark. So he's well aware. I didn't ask any. I thought maybe I didn't realize you didn't know when it was coming out, but it might not have sold in America yet.
Yeah, I think they're selling territories is what it is. It's one of those things that, yeah, they might not even have a distributing deal in America, and it might not be High Octane. Because does High Octane are they mostly international, or do they do domestic and international equally?
They do mostly international, but because now domestic is becoming more of like an aggregator, like iTunes, Amazon, making sure it's on those platforms. So they've been pushing into more domestic stuff, but sometimes they'll split domestic with more established distributor to get traction in certain places. Like domestically, we're coming out through for Suburban Cowboy through a company called Uncork.
Right.
And the reason I even was introduced to them was through Galen. You know, the film was repped by Paradigm, but Galen said, "Hey, have you talked to Keith at Uncork?" And I said, "No, let me have Paradigm contact them," and that's what we wound up going with.
Right.
You know,
why did you not just do the domestic with Galen's company?
Because Galen said, "Hey, like they get better placement."
Got it.
So Keith actually came up through Blockbuster. He was the main buyer at Blockbuster for.
Who's that?
Blockbuster. He's the guy who runs Uncorked.
Got it.
Bufford. So, you know, when you're the main buyer at the biggest company on the, video company.
Of 1985. 1985.
Well, I mean, Blockbuster was around for what? Early 2000s, right?
Yeah, probably.
You know, for for a long time, they were the place to go. So anyone that had contact had to go to him, and he built up a ton of relationships that way. So he still maintains those relationships, and he gets good placement for titles, meaning, like, for us to get in demand, we're in Suburban Cowboy in 300 million homes right now.
Right.
You know, the problem with that is, sounds awesome, but, you know, how many people know about the film that they're going to go to their cable provider and download it or rent it?
Right.
So a lot of it's marketing, but the fact that we're in that situation is awesome. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure where our status is with physical media, but for a film of our size, get, say, a Walmart deal and be available there on DVD or Blu-ray would be huge, because even if it's $50,000, that's a huge chunk of our budget that we recoup back.
Right.
And he's good at doing those things. So even Galen will admit that, and Galen will team up with Uncork or other people on domestic sometimes.
Right. It's hard to do the DVD, the physical side now, because you have to eat the return, you know, so you don't know, no matter what, you're always going to print up the lowest amount, and then it's the amortization of, when you do print up a lower amount of DVDs, well, that costs more to print up less, and because whatever Walmart doesn't sell, it comes back. You're on a 60-day net or a 30-day net, and so, like, basically, you're giving to them on consignment, you know, and they will pay you for what they sold, and then they ship it back to you. And, you know, that's why a lot of these distributors want to be in the digital, because it's no real estate involved. You're not sitting on, wait, I have a warehouse now how do I liquidate, you know, 30,000 DVDs that didn't sell at Walmart? You know, so it's definitely not a model guys want to be in.
What I really wanted, well, I mean, for a movie my size, Suburban Cowboy, even if we had to eat half of the DVD or Blu-ray, we'd be good. What would have been better, because you don't need any of it, they make a straight deal off top, is Redbox.
Right.
I think a Redbox deal for us would have been like $25,000. I'm still not sure, because I don't have any Redbox machines in my area. I'm on Long Island right now.
Yeah.
There's no Redboxes, so I can't tell if it's there. And the distributor's not always, you know, they have a bunch of titles they're dealing with, so it's not like he's calling me every 5 minutes saying, we got this, we got that. You know, when we got in demand and we're on 300 million homes, I got an email that, you know, hey, you got it in demand.
The cool thing about Redbox is they basically just purchase a DVD with nothing. They purchase a ream of them because they just put them in their own little sleeves and containers. They don't need the jewel box or anything, so that cuts down on cost. Print up whatever. Let's just say they order 500. It's, you know, you go to wherever they go. I'm going to say PDBaby.com or whatever's going to be cheap, you know, disc makers, and they ship it out. And Redbox might even just, you send us the file, we print up our discs. You know, they're probably at this point, you know, because they're kind of, their real estate is going down a little bit too. I'm surprised they haven't shifted just into digital. They should shift into it. It would be interesting if Redbox could just shift into a subscription-based situation that, you know, it's just an icon on your laptop to look at Redbox, you know, rentals, just like iTunes and anything else. But what you can do is, if something was available on Redbox and you saw it in front of your local supermarket, you can basically select to purchase it after, when it's going to be expired. They give you an option near the end where it's like, you know, rent this for $1.99 or purchase it for $3.99. So you could actually, because they want to get rid of them. So that, you guys know that, right? So you can purchase the discs on Redbox from Redbox to just take them because they don't want.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean?
Blockbuster used to do that back in the day, where like a month after, because they used to get, you know, the hit movie that came out comes to Blockbuster. There's 6,000 copies of it because it's the only one that anyone wants to rent. But then, you know, a month later, they're all sitting there, so they have them use DVDs for sale or for $5 or whatever it was.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. Remember when Blockbuster was at its height, and you would say, let's just say Jurassic Park, and there might be 40 copies of it at any Blockbuster, and they would stack them behind each other. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And I'm sure if you worked there, somebody would just stash one of those so it never got, like, rented or played, so that it was just sort of, like, getting shuffled around and just kind of, like, never really left the store, and therefore, when it's ready to purchase, you're actually getting something that wasn't, like, run through a VHS player, like, 100 times.
A lot of my DVDs are, because I went on DVD binge. Movie nut. I had probably 2,000 DVDs. I'd say a good half of them were just walking in Blockbuster and going through the used bin and getting them right after they finish renting. And then you look back and you're like, why did I have all these? Did I not realize everything was going to eventually go digital?
Right. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
There's some that you can't. There's some that I, cherish that are out of print and that you can't even get digitally for the most part. But for the most of them, they're on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon or are $4 on iTunes.
Ryan, do you have the ability to play a VHS tape? Do you have a VHS player?
I do have a VHS player. I actually have three VHS players stacked on top of each other. They used to bootleg copies of Rad in college, and that's how I paid. That was my job.
Nice.
It's out of print. It's out of print, and Jack Schwartzman, who was the EP on it, Talia Shire's husband, and Jason Schwartzman's dad, he passed away, and the library that he owns, which partly is Rad, kind of is in limbo. So I think Talia Shire actually owns the rights to Rad, but Rad is a BMX film from 1986 that she's actually in. But the rights are kind of in purgatory, and she wants nothing to do with them. So it's not like anyone was coming after me or putting it on DVD or Blu-ray. And I was selling so many VHS tapes of it that I eventually I got the laser disc and then put it on DVD. And I think I was the first person to do that. To actually shift it to DVD, which in the cult world of movies, and especially that movie Rad, which has a rabid, weird fan base. I was selling the soundtrack, and then my dad came to me one day and he's like, I don't know what you're doing, but you need to stop because the FBI is going to show up here one day, and I do not want to get arrested. My dad shut me down.
Well, man, I thought of another question, but now I forgot. I did mention Victor Crowley, by the way, so I hate to tease that and not talk to people about that, even though they're not technically involved in that. We chatted about this multiple times on the show that, and now the cat's out of the bag, where we had a premiere of my new film, Victor Crowley, which is a forthcoming, reboot, kind of I wouldn't really call it a sequel, but it is a sequel of the Hatchet franchise. You have Hatchet 1, 2, and 3, and now this film, Victor Crowley, is a continuation of that world, even though it's sort of a new take on it, or, it's just another, say, branch of the storyline. And
I heard you kill it.
Great.
I heard you carry the movie.
Yeah. I've gotten really good reviews. One guy actually compared me to some actor from a Mad World. I forget the guy's name. It was like an actor I didn't know. And I looked him up, and he was a pretty funny comedian back in the 50s. I'm like, oh, that's a really good compliment. But I was just like, who is this guy? And it was like an English reviewer said, Dave Sheridan, does his best Jim Shaw with his knurling or garling or whatever. It was a word, some English word. I had to look that up. It's stupid. But, because it basically, the real film premiered, the actual film premiered at, Fright Fest in the UK. What we had was a bunch of Hatchet fans show up in LA thinking that it was the 10th year screening anniversary, like a new cut of Hatchet 1. And the whole cast of Hatchet 1 showed up for a panel, and Adam was, spoke before the screening of Hatchet 1, anniversary, and he revealed, we're not watching Hatchet 1, we're watching my new film, Victor Crowley, and the audience just went crazy. And we really kept it a surprise from the fans, and they really appreciated that and enjoyed it. Because imagine you're standing in line to see, Hatchet 1, and when you get down in there, it's revealed you're actually watching a brand new movie of, a series that you love. I was a little worried that night that there were going to be people that booed us, going, we came here for fucking Hatchet 1. This fucking sucks. Like, it would have backfired. I fucking stood in line for fucking an hour for Hatchet 1, you asshole. What a funny shit, man. Stupid secret prank shit. I'm like, I had nothing to do with that part, But, a lot of the horror movies now are going in this, especially in sort of sequels and reboots, or doing the whole kind of let's keep it a secret and unveil it just because it's the press, it's the story, and it gives Entertainment Weekly the exclusive. They were the ones that we gave the exclusive to announce it and stuff like that. But we're going to be touring with that around the country. We're going to be doing a road show screening, and it's probably going to be, they're all going to be somehow connected to some horror cons so that you can meet us afterwards, and we'll do panels on it and stuff. The first one that we're doing a panel on is Monster Palooza here in Burbank on September 16th. So if anybody is around, the con is September 16th and 17th. We're going to be there for a panel on September 17th to talk about Victor Crowley and show some clips and stuff. That's in Burbank, called Monster Palooza. So if you're around, I think our panel starts at 1 p.m. on Sunday the 17th. And then we'll be at Rock and Shock in Worcester, Massachusetts. And we'll be screening it there somewhere and doing a panel. And then also Nashville. It's a tattoo convention. I forget what it's called, but a tattoo horror convention in Nashville. I've been to Nashville. I haven't been there probably 30 years. So that'll be a cool one. And the rest of the dates aren't announced, but you can go to Adam Green's Twitter account. I will, as soon as I know it, I'm going to announce it on my whatever little social networking I'm starting to get back into, because I've been NIA on all this stuff for a long time. So that's why I appreciate Creech for you to carry on and do some podcasts and stuff, and the audience, whoever's listening now, thanks for thinking about me while I've been away and trying to finish up and deal with stuff on my family side. But I promise now we're going to start getting back into it and trying to regularly, get on this podcast, and a lot of it now is going to be kind of pushing on the Naked. That's the other film I did, Naked with Marlon Wayans. That's on Netflix now. So there's a lot of stuff happening, but every one of these things, whether it's Sky Shark or Naked or Victor Crowley or more about this Orient City, these are all going to be topics, and we're going to get people on. And Ryan's obviously the first one we're having on. Him and I have been, chatting for months. None of this information is new to me, but, I wanted to bring you on to get the word out about the project. So, appreciate you coming on, dude.
Yeah, we've chatted while you're covered in paint and dust, building a house. Yeah,
I'm so glad that's over with. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, you sound like a whole new man.
I think I posted actually a video of it on my Twitter account. I could post another one at some point. I got to put it on my video. Did you see that, Ryan? That I made a little I took a drone and flew through the house.
Yeah, it was cool. That was for the selling the house, right?
Yeah, exactly. And but at the same time, I wanted to do it so I had record of that for me to watch it back whenever I feel like I can't get through this, and I'll be like, oh, you know what? I did that. I made something entirely outside of my boundaries. One of the hardest things I've ever done. Well, I'll tell you, like now, making a film is going to seem like nothing, It's hardly that I make a film where I get my family homeless. I don't think there's a film that's going to come up where I also kick my family out of the house. Unless I make a film inside the house, like a Poltergeist, and then I do kick my kids out. Or you're living in the tent until we're done shooting. Then it would be another one of the situations where it really puts my family under a lot of pressure. But
What you should do for the next podcast is bring your wife on and talk about the living situation with her parents.
Yeah.
And how they crank up the movies. Yeah. You told me some funny stories.
Yeah, I'll talk about those funny stories. My wife will not come on. She'll just be like, fuck off. I don't want to talk about it. Fuck off, Dave. But, let's put it this way. Her parents, they actually would scroll through the VOD stuff and read the things, and they would read them out loud, what was available. So when you're saying, I don't know how people are going to find it, there are people that go through on demand and literally like a library read what's available. And there's a good chance my father-in-law will rent Suburban Cowboy because it's got, touches with the mob and drug dealing and stuff like that, because that's what he's into. Every time I know when they're going to rent something when it starts off, he's a young kid from the Bronx that came back from the war, got involved in the mob. He's a young violent baseball player who has got a scholarship to play baseball and gets involved in the mob. Like, it always gets involved with the mob. He's like, I'll watch that. He's a young paraplegic skydiver that gets involved with the mob. Oh, okay, that sounds like a good story.
There was one time you were losing your mind. Was it they were cranking the volume up?
They don't hear very well, and they crank the volume, and they accidentally. So they also did the Netflix DVDs, and so something got hit on their DVD player, and I wasn't about to fix it because it, quite frankly, cracked me up. But they need to have the subtitles on the DVD so they can watch. They can read it too, right? But they also still play it at like 39 decibels. It's all the way up. So that not only is it playing really loud, so you're hearing Tommy Sizemore, who's a young soldier coming back from World War II that got involved in the mob before he became a priest. I think that one was called War Dogs. It was like Tommy Sizemore and Mickey Rourke has like an appearance where Mickey plays a World War II commander who refuses to shave his long hair for the role. So somehow Mickey convinced these filmmakers like, yeah, you're kind of like a General Patton kind of character in 1945, but yet you still have the wrestler WWF hairdo. Like, this doesn't make sense, And but they hit a button where there's also a narrator that's available on many DVDs.
That's right. That
will for the scene impaired that will tell you what the actors are also doing. On top of their dialogue is still there. So it's a real monotone, Siri kind of voice, one of these navigational GPS voices that just says, he gets into the car, he steps out of the car, he rings the doorbell. So the whole time stuff is happening, you also hear, he watches her leave. They wave to each other. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Oh, and they couldn't figure out how to get it off, so they just gave up. They were in the menu trying to for the next 6 months, everything that came, just the narrator, So now I could hear the movie up, like, on the other side of the house. I'd be outside, like, I'm just going to go outside, and break the yard while I listen to this movie and the person telling me what's going on in the movie. So it's like a radio play.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Fun stuff, fun time. So, look, I got to go to a meeting because, things are kicking. But as I get the Victor Crowley date, I will keep everyone posted. And I'll let you know, too, Ryan, because it might be something over in your area in Creech that we could correspond. And for sure, Creech, hopefully you can come out to one of these cons and we can podcast directly from one of these cons that we're screening the movie at. And then, Ron, please check in with us. If I know you will, keep me posted of when Orient City is playing at some festivals. Let me know so we can announce those, and people can hopefully come to the festivals and check it out as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely keep in the loop.
In fact, I'd like to do that because we were talking about watching it just now with the sound design, but I really want to see this thing projected and loud. I want to see, that's worth it to me to take a road trip.
We actually did it in 4K.
Yeah.
We did all the animation in 4K. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but when we send it out, it has to be 2K because no one has a 4K computer. And Blu-rays are 1080. And I've seen it 4K on like a 60-inch TV, and it looks and sounds awesome. But I have not sat in a theater with it and had it, on a big screen. So I'm pumped for that first experience myself.
Cool. So what ones are locked again? Do you have an exact date of anything that's locked so far on the festival screen?
Yeah, the first one up is the Rhode Island International Film Festival. The thing is that the official fest actually was in August. What they do is they have a genre sidebar called Vortex, and ours is a samurai Western film. And that's in October, and I think it's October 15th sometime that week. I don't know when your thing is in Massachusetts, but
Rock and Shock is the 14th and 15th, or December 14th and 15th. So you need to look at that because Rhode Island is right there. So I could.
Yeah, I know. And I'm coming up. It's 2 hours for all. It's a 2-hour ride for me, so it's easy. So I'll definitely. It would be awesome.
Please send me the info on that because I would love to come check that out. What about Naked? Did you get a chance to see Naked?
I did get a chance to see Naked. And
don't spoil it for me because I haven't seen it. I only saw like maybe 15 minutes of it. I need to. The problem, I'll tell you what I find is when something's on Netflix, I don't notch out the time to see it, especially if I'm not like really into something. Like Walking Dead. I'm into that show, so I will make time to watch it. And I'm already invested in it because I've seen so many seasons. But when you're asking me to watch a movie on Netflix that I'm in and I know it already, it's tough for me to invest personal time. For me to go to a premiere of it, then that's sort of like, okay, it's a twofold thing. I get to walk a red carpet, I get to promote myself a little bit. So, and I know there's going to be a party afterwards. There's a lot more it's a lot more like perks of an investment there for me. But for me to sit in my own bedroom and watch a movie that I helped make and I already know it, it's tough for me to sit down and say, I'm going to spend 2 hours of my time watching something that I sort of already know, So when I watched like 20 minutes of it and things started happening around me that I got pulled away, then it's sort of like hard for me to go back to. And I mean, because to me, what I saw was okay, but it wasn't like, wow, I've never seen anything like this, or it's tough for me. Any movies like that for me, especially one I've already made. But did you like it?
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with that statement. Basically, I mean, I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's one of Marlon's funnier films, but it has its moments, and I do want to say you and blanking on his name, but your cop partner in the movie are definitely
Neil Brown Jr. Neil Brown Jr.
There we
Neil
go.
Brown
Yeah,
Jr. He's great.
You and
Neil Brown Jr. is great.
Yeah. You guys have a great chemistry, and there's a lot of funny interactions between you. Definitely one of the highlights of the film for sure. And that's not just because you're my co-host.
I would have to give him a lot of that credit. Yeah, I'm going to give Neil a lot of that credit because he's a great actor, and I was just sort of feeding off of whatever he brought. I was like, okay, I'm just going to. He was, like you're a dance, and there's a dance partner that does the lead, and the other person follows, and I was just letting Neil lead because he was more cut out. If you know anything about Neil's roles and what he does, I'm like, dude, you are perfect for these type of roles, and I'm just going to kind of follow suit and try to play to your level. So he got, I was like playing to him versus me saying, I got to take on this. Let me go and run with it, So, because, we were supposed to be partners, and almost like a married couple. So you have to kind of just find that energy that matches. So it's easier for me to just go to that guy's level, especially when I'm coming from a different perspective of what I do as an actor usually is not with partners. I'm usually the steamroller guy that comes in and steals scenes or is playing a big character. So to sort of play something a little smaller and a little grounded and a little lower in intensity as a supporting element with Marlon, I just like kind of just followed along and just tried to accentuate what Neil was doing. But I mean, Neil's fun to be acting with because he's fun to watch. I like watching how his gears work. And one of the things I got to do with Neil off stage, off set, while we were hanging out, was he's so prolific. The guy's got so many auditions going. I think he was auditioning for Lost in Space when we were working together and a couple other movies. And I worked with his auditions to put himself on tape. I would run lines with him. So it was just so much fun working with an actor like that, you know, just being a guy going, hey, I'm watch how his brain works. And I probably, doing stuff like that, you learn a lot as an actor, working with other actors, not just on the movie. I'm saying working with him with his auditions, that helps shine light on preparation and how you do stuff, you know? So
yeah,
he's
I think
a
it's
competent
also,
professional.
I think it's also kind of funny. As like a just strange little side note to the movie. I mean, I think it's the actual first film pairing of somebody from The Walking Dead with somebody from The Walking Deceased.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because he was in season 1 of The Walking Dead, and then obviously you were the Rick character in The Walking Deceased.
Yeah, he was. He played he was in the old folks home, right?
Yeah, he's one of the Vatos.
He was part of that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I forgot to go back and watch that. I'm going to go back and watch that. You know, so yeah, he's got a great career, man.
So you have on Netflix another movie that I have not seen. I've seen your little cameo in it, but the Jeff Garlin mystery movie.
Yeah, here's the thing with that. If you blink, you'll miss me. You know what I mean? My whole thing was, Jeff was like, hey, if I make a second movie, your role is going to be this much bigger role, because he was going to make sort of a serial movies out of this detective character of his. So in the next sort of crime, I'm supposed to my character will play Chuck Looney. I'm also a detective, is going to play a bigger role in that one. So he just wanted to kind of place a little Easter egg in the first one. I haven't spoken to him. I have no idea what's going on, if he's writing it or they're even going to make any more. I liked it a lot, actually, because I'm a big television fan of those old, Murder, She Wrote, Columbo type of TV shows, because it's meant to feel like one of those sort of Macmillan and Wife kind of TV crime 1 hours, you know what I mean? Back in sort of the 70s and 80s. That's the way it's written, and that's the way it's shot, and that's the way it's supposed to feel. So if people don't know that going into it, they might not get that joke, because they don't really hit it on the head. They don't really hit those camera moves 100% on the head on purpose. They didn't really go and spoof it in a way. You know what I mean? They didn't knock out the look. They didn't shoot in a certain type of camera look. You know what I mean? It's a modern camera look versus it being a period piece. If they made it more of a period piece, with everyone actually maybe taking place in the 80s and the look of it to the 80s, and the soundtrack, the music to feel like that, maybe they would have nailed it a little bit more. But that's the auspice of just the jumping off point. But in terms of the execution of filming it and the soundtrack supporting it, that's more like modern day. And so, an audience watching it might not get that was his stepping off point in terms of what he was modeling the concept after. But he did shoot it in that manner, in the sense of shoot these kind of establishing wide masters that everything plays in, versus having to turn around the camera. You don't turn the world around, you relight. You just sort of light a basic light, and the camera stays on one side and pushes in from the same camera angle to the mediums of the tights. And so, in shooting things, he would start shooting at 8 a.m. and he'd be done by noon or 1. His day would be done, because he was shooting so fast, only because the setups were very minimalistic and the camera moves and stuff. There were camera moves, but they were all done on a track within the same sort of linear setting of whatever they set the lighting and the camera at, you know, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I got you.
So some people might look at it as kind of like, oh, that might not be captivating to people. That might not be titillating to the eyeballs enough, but it was meant to kind of have that sort of, you know, recently I just watched The Murder, She Wrote, and the way they would stack, the sort of Scooby-Doo stack the actors, you know, during her interrogation scene of where the murder take place, and there's the sheriff and the actress and the local ruffian boy and the you know, the mayor and all these people there in the sort of cabin where everyone was murdered, and she's sitting there talking about how this wasn't an accident, this was a murder. And it was like the way they shot it so quickly was put everyone in a line, and then all they did was, for everyone's singles, they just moved the camera a little bit. They didn't have to turn things around, and people weren't acting in a three-dimensional way. Well, not in a three-dimensional acting way, but in a three-dimensional staging way, you know, with where they're standing and stuff. So everything's more like a play, and that's kind of how he did it as well, which was fun, and it made it, the light lifting of the crew and the acting was not the acting itself, but the actors meaning, hey, I'm done. I was done at 1 p.m. You know, it's like, okay, we're going home. You know, you could go do laundry and go to the bank if you want, you know. So, but I did enjoy it. I like his films. Are they like the Farrelly Brother comedy? No. Are they a Ben Stiller comedy or Will Ferrell comedy? No. It is a certain type of comedy that Jeff Garlin does, but if you're in a good mood, you're going to like it. If you're looking for something a little bit more hard comedy or something harder hitting or something with a little more meat to it, that's not what he does. You know what I mean? It's just very cerebral and kind of Woody Allen-ish in a sense, you know?
That's a pretty good description. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to check it all out yet, but like I said, I did see your scene, and I do have it, so I'll check out the rest of it.
I hope you have it. It's on Netflix. I mean, you have it.
Well,
yeah, we'll see what happens, though. You know, I actually think if you say which one did you like better, I'll tell you right now, I haven't finished watching Naked, so if I liked it so much, if I was into Naked so much, I would have finished it. You know what I'm saying? When I watched Handsome, I was able to get through it. And one of the other things was I wasn't really familiar with the script. I don't know if he even gave me the script. So that one, I was kind of curious where it was going to go. I know Amy Sedaris was in it, and I'm a big fan of Amy, so I wanted to see how he utilized her. And, is she coming back? What's the scenes there, you know? So I didn't know so much what to expect. Like I said, with Naked, I was there shooting it the whole time and was very familiar with the script because it sort of repeats itself. So that even though I have a few scenes, the scenes are the same each time, kind of a thing. So
yeah, that was really one of the things. You know, I mean, it got old a little bit. I mean, granted, obviously that's what they were intending because he was reliving that same day over again. But I feel like they hit it on the head a little too much. In the movie, because like he goes through the reliving everything, and then it stops. So you're like, okay, so now the rest of the movie's going to happen, and then it's like they reset, and then they do it over and over again with everything, and you're just like, okay, now you're just overkill.
Right. Interesting. The one thing I would like to do, I guess, to make it more interesting, is go find the Naked. There's a Norwegian, Scandinavian Naked, and I would like to see that one. That was what this was a remake of. So maybe I'd like to go see the first Naked and then watch Marlon's Naked and see, you know, did they just remake a movie, not shot for shot, but is it very similar, or was it, you know, 90% completely different and they only took like the general concept from the original one? I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be something to check out, for sure.
Yep. Okay. All right, well, that was good to get my feet wet once more. Hopefully I can start to make it a regular thing with you, Creech. I want to get back into it. We were on a groove for a while, and I got sidetracked. And I am a creature of habit. I'm currently trying to rewrite a script. That's what I'm getting after this right now. That it's been sitting for a year and a half. I had to put it to the side, and I only need to write like 5 scenes. Like, you know, I have 5 scenes that are already written. I just have these 5 jokes and gags before I send the script out for people to look at. But the problem is, it's a film that I want to direct, and so I knew I could not commit to directing it while I was working on the house, so therefore I didn't commit to finishing the script, and it just sat there. And, I kind of purposely didn't write on it because I wanted to see if I came up with any more ideas while I was building the house, and I might have a couple more might have put it in my head. I don't know, because at this point I just looked at the last email I had, and it had a list of 8 things I need to add to the script, and that's what I'm sitting down to do. The way I work is I'm real hesitant to get into stuff. I'm kind of lazy, I guess. I'm a little ADD, and it's tough for me to get into that creature of habit situation. Well, once I get into something, just like working out, I think there's enough people in there that know that they've gone to the gym or they started working out or a diet. They started doing it, and it starts to go well, get into a groove, and then something takes them out of it, and then it's hard to get back into that situation. A lot of times it's an injury with working out. A lot of times you injure something, and you have to take a month or 2 off, and next thing you know, it's hard to get back into that. But once you get into that routine, and that's what it's called, a routine, then you can start to make it a routine. So we need to get back into the routine of doing our podcast, and that all of our great listeners out there can tune in and listen to us more on a regular basis with new episodes of the Dave and Creech Show, which we promise we will be doing.
Exactly,
Today
yes.
Today, yeah. I think I was waiting for that eclipse, too, by the way. I was waiting for that eclipse.
I was just waiting for the end of the world on Saturday.
Yeah,
I knew once it didn't end that we definitely were going to have another episode.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. First it was the eclipse, and then we were so close to sort of break it into the world. I was like, well, no, then, it was like, okay, the eclipse came. Then you were going to have a hurricane or whatever. It was like, you might lose the electricity. Let's let them get through the hurricane. Then it was like, oh, well, the world's going to end next weekend. Let's see if that happens. No point that no one's going to listen to, right? And so now that we're past the world ending thing, I think, I don't know what we should jump in before something else happens that we would be like, oh, let's wait for that, So I think now's a good time to get that podcast going again, full force. Don't you, Creech?
Exactly, yes, especially before our nuclear holocaust destroys us all, and we're all a bunch of mutant people.
Yeah, exactly, because, that'll be a good podcast, though. We'll have a lot to talk about, at least. We're mutant people.
Oh, yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah.
We can exchange stories of different arms and legs growing out of ourselves, so.
It'd be a nice little medical show, for sure.
I would say my fondest memory of the previous generation of our podcast, the last 50 or 60 that we did before I had to take a break, when I woke up about a month ago laughing in the middle of the night, still thinking about this one moment. Story was with the guy tried to rob like a Walmart or whatever it was, and he shoved the Pillsbury, the Pillsbury stuff, whether I don't remember what it was, crescent rolls for all I know, but he shoved it up his butt, and then the security guard tackled him, and then the thing popped open in his butt. Remember that? Sorry.
Yeah, I do.
Still cracked up over that. I go, that one's a funny one, man. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I want to thank Ryan Colucci for coming on the show. Once again, his projects are Orient City. Hit him up if you want to buy a Blu-ray of the short on Orient City. I'm sure he would sell you one to raise more money for his feature film. Also, be sure to check out his movie called Suburban Cowboy. It's available on all sorts of rental devices, like whether it's Blu-ray, I don't know, like VOD, Netflix, iTunes. Go and look for it. You'll find it. I'm not going to tell you where to look. You got to do a little something yourself out there.
Exactly.
But I want to thank him for coming on. I want to thank Creech for being a part of this podcast with me. I look forward to hanging out with you, Creech, more in the future on these podcasts. And I want to thank the listeners for tuning in and checking us out again. Thanks for sticking with us. This is Dave Sheridan and Creech signing off.
Shut up and sit down.
Thank you for listening to the Dave and Creech Show. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Dave and CJ. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of Creech Creative Productions or any of its affiliates.